Hello everyone, welcome to our podcast. Our topic for today is about a controversial yet pervasive issue: the misogyny in boy mom culture. I am your host, Serena. Have you ever met a woman obsessed with having a son? Heard someone claim a woman is incomplete without a son? Or witnessed young boys being brought into women's restrooms disregarding female privacy? Even in an era of gender equality, the obsession with male heirs still persists. Some families keep having children until they get a son. In some extreme cases, they even resort to unscientific medicines and methods. As outsiders, we are horrified, but women trapped in this cycle often fail to recognize the harm. They coddle their sons, sideline their daughters, and perpetuate a toxic legacy. Later, these mothers become mothers-in-law who pressure their daughters-in-law for sons, repeating the same cruelty they endured. Today, we are diving deep into this issue with three powerful perspectives. To bring these voices to life, we invited party and expert in relevant fields. Let's meet Hazel, a self-proclaimed boy mom defending her choices, and Echo, a sociologist studying how boy mom mentalities fuel systematic inequality. We also pick up phones from our audience to learn about their opinion. Together, we will unpack why sons represent trophies and daughters are treated as afterthoughts. Moreover, the real-life consequences of this bias. Let's welcome Hazel and Echo. To learn about boy mom culture and the misogyny in it, we first need to understand why these women are so eager to give birth to a baby boy to an extent that they can harm themselves. Hazel, a mother of a boy and a girl from Mainland China, will share her story and thoughts, and I believe Echo could give us a knowledgeable sociology insight. Good morning, Hazel. To start, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm 40 years old and I grew up in a rural area in Mainland China. I began to care for my family when I was really young, and I've never had a chance to attend college.
Thank you. Our topic is about son preference culture. To what extent do you understand this term? Have you ever seen its impact in your daily life?
I think son preference culture is very common in my village. People believe that sons are more valuable than women. I've never forget the disappointments on my in-laws' face when they knew my first kid was a girl. They forced me to try again for a son, so I tried again and even tried it at multiple temples and tried different medicine for the son. I feel much relief when I finally got a son.
Thank you for sharing, Hazel. Your experience highlights a much wider pattern we're seeing. I learned from a survey that 2.33% of women admitted to using dangerous fetal sex selection methods, a percentage that may sound small, but that's thousands of mothers risking their health, trapped between tradition and survival. Hazel, you talk about the feeling of disrelief when your son was born. Do you think sons are irreplaceable?
Wanting son wasn't just about me. It was a family aspect, Sons, well, they're like a backbone of the family. They carry the family name, take care of their own parents, and people respect them more. Men just have more power out here in the world. But women, our job is to look after the home and the kids, and that's how it's always been. It's tradition and this seems in it. A son stays with you forever, but a daughter will be part of her husband's family once she married out. Just look around. Men run everything. Job, parties, all of it. So, of course, family want son.
I get your point, Hazel. Men have dominated the society for a long time. In such a society, how do you educate your son and daughter?
I will tell them our tradition matters the most. My son knows he should be the breadwinner, and my daughter learn to care for the family. I also expect my daughter-in-law to look after the household and be the perfect wife and the mother.
Hazel, thank you for walking us through your experience so openly. What stands out to me is how deeply these beliefs are tied to practical fears about aging, security, even a family's social standing. So, Echo, what I'm hearing is that Hazel's choice to have a son wasn't just about her, it was about surviving in a patriarchal society. When the mother has to use reproductive choice to fight social risk, is it an individual wisdom or a conspiracy of the system?
Hi everyone, I'm Echo, studying misogyny for years. From Hazel's words, we can see that the idea of having a son gains family respect actually represents an institutionalized survival strategy. In fact, in clan cultures, sons act as family's ticket to resources like land inheritance and village influence, while sonless families face marginalization. My research on China's boy mom cultures mirrors this. Nearly 27% in rural areas endorse their idea that mothers should strive for a boy, which is actually tied to land policies favoring male heirs. So, son preference isn't just tradition, it's systematic, driven by patriarchal structures controlling resources. The old age security belief of sons is especially permanent in rural areas and counties, where about half of the respondents agree that men can obtain family continuities and ensure elderly support for their parents. But for city residents, it's more about personal choices driven by gender preferences. An article about engendering reproductive policy and practice in China suggested that the phenomenon of preferring male babies is related to the policy. The one-child policy has led rural families to take extreme measures to give birth to boys.
Thank you, Echo. As we learn about the boy mom side, we are ready to hear some comment from our fellow listeners. What is your opinion on boy mom culture? Do you resonate with them or do you want to criticize them? We welcome all ideas in our audience phoning section. Hello, can you briefly introduce yourself first?
I'm Renee, a college student. I'm totally against the pursuit of male babies.
Thank you, Renee. Please tell us more about your opinion on boy moms.
Boy moms extremely favor male babies and spoil them just because they are boys, rather than having specific strengths. This is very puzzling to me. It's obvious that the only difference between men and women is sexual characteristics. So why favor boys because of such difference? To me, being a boy mom is a form of misogyny and a sense of inferiority about one's female identity.
Have you ever considered becoming a boy mom as a personal choice of these women?
I don't agree with this. If society treated men and women equally, son preference would vanish. So, how can it be said that wanting a boy is a personal preference? The idea that boys are more important or capable is rooted in a patriarchal system that sets men up as their default heirs and leaders. Boy moms insist that male privilege is inborn, a harmful norm that undermines true equality. Personal preference? No, they just find it shameful to admit favoring sons in modern society.
Thank you for sharing, Renee. Have you ever met or interact with a boy mom in reality?
Of course, I've once witnessed a mother publicly express disdain for her daughter by calling her too dramatic and not important, while she talked to other mothers about her son's achievements and how he was inherently gifted. This irritates me. These women excuse male privilege, pushing girls to shrink themselves instead of demanding boys to respect women. This is not protection, this is punishment. This mentality gives boy moms' reasons to favor sons while upholding a system that devalues daughters. Calling care for women a lie is surrender to patriarchy.
I see your point, Rini, and I feel that you are actually concerned about females' rights. Would you say that you are a feminist?
Definitely.
I wonder how your feminist perspective shapes your view on societal pursuit of male offsprings.
Well, I used to think that having only boys meant individual inequality. I now realize that mothers are also oppressed by instilling the idea that their sons are superior. Some even develop obsessive hatred toward daughters. While I sympathize with their oppression, their actions, like their extreme sexism, are still driving people crazy. Mothers taking transmutation pills or risking hell for a son? They're pitiful, not woke. Their desperation reflects internalized shame about being female, a tragic self-loathing. I don't support pursuing a specific gender. It perpetuates the same system that devalues women. Boy moms aren't just misguided. They're complicit in a cycle that harms everyone, including themselves.
I get the feeling that you actually carry very mixed feeling about boy moms. On one hand, you resent their weakness and their oppression of other girls, but on the other hand, you can actually understand why they turn out to be like this.
100%. I think making change is a profound process. To stop this vicious cycle, society should emphasize challenging gender stereotypes through education, online advocacy, and fostering economic independence.
Thank you for sharing, Rini. Please stay on the phone. After listening to two people with opposing views, I have a question for our audience. Would you say that criticizing boy moms is only a behavior to combat patriarchy, but not another oppression towards women who are also oppressed by patriarchal norms? Boy moms framed their preference over sons as a necessity, driven by family and societal pressure. But critics argue that by prioritizing sons, they are actually perpetuating the same system that oppresses women. Hazel, do you have any response towards Rini's comment?
I don't understand why they say things like that. What I tried to do was only to continue my family tradition. What's wrong with it? If I don't have a son, we would lose respect in the community. My son is our safety. He will continue the family and get more money for the family. I think you are misunderstanding me by saying I hurt my daughter. I taught my daughter to save money because I know the life for women is harder. If I don't prepare my children for the society, who will protect them? Mother like me can change the world. I can't shake the tradition. So I choose to adapt myself and my children to this.
Look, I don't doubt you feel trapped, but being a victim doesn't erase the fact that you keep it alive. Boy moms like you support a culture that values masculinity and upholds patriarchal values by celebrating the birth of male babies. When you believe that male babies are more desirable than female babies, you are contributing to a cycle that devalues women. This goes beyond your small family. You shall consider the wider impact of your decisions. Come on, we live in the 21st century. It's time for all parents to take their responsibility to promote equality and destroy the stereotypes that place men above women.
Look, you're acting like I've got this power to change everything. Well, I don't. And I don't think we women are powerful enough to change the conventions. I'm just trying to protect my family, use what I have. What is wrong with it? You're ignoring how much pressure I'm under. My in-laws, my community, even my husband. I didn't make these rules, and I can't break it myself. It's not fair to blame it on me.
Well, I'm not saying you're the bad guy here, but that sounds pretty much like an excuse. You're teaching your daughter to adapt to a broken system instead of pushing back against it. That pressure you feel is real, but every time you give in, you're handing it down to her too. I get that you didn't build this mess, but saying I can't change it lets the system off the hook. We've got to start somewhere. and it will be too late if we don't take action now.
Stepping up? If I stepping up and violate all my family will lose everything. Respect, support, security. Don't be too naive. I can't raise my kid all by myself when I can't have my family support and being seen as the weirdo in my community. What if I got divorced? How can I raise my kids with my bare hands? I can't even find a job without college degree. Or worse, I can't see my children anymore. There are too much consequence following the step up, and I can't risk any of them and gambling my kids' future on some big statements.
Yes, Hazel, because that reality is what's screwing over your daughter and every other girl. You're so focused on surviving today that you're locking them into the same trap tomorrow. It's not just about you, it's about all of us as women.
All right, let's take a breath here. Echo, this is getting intense. Can you step in and help us unpack what's happening?
The core conflict between Hazel and Renee is about whether having a boy is a survival strategy or structural complicity. Survival strategy, it is a response under institutional violence. Rural land's inheritance rights in China remains heavily tied to male, while elderly care responsibilities fall almost entirely on sons. Hazel's belief in the necessity of having a son is a direct reaction to this institutionalized deprivation of women's resources. She must secure familial authority through a son, otherwise risk exclusion from resource distribution. I learned from Dr. Zhang that 72% of childless families lose rural land disputes. Renee's critics address a sharp contradiction: how an individual survival strategy can become a screw in a system of oppression. Hazel's pragmatic choice is the very embodiment of patriarchy's symbolic violence. She unconsciously naturalizes male privilege and reproduces productive inequalities through everyday practices. By celebrating the birth of a son, allowing the transmission of property to sons. However, her urban middle-class perspective demands individual awakening, but underestimates the risk caused burned by rural women. Ending oppression cannot be built upon the self-sacrifice of marginalized groups. Systematic change requires dismantling the structures that force such sacrifice in the first place. The oppression between the two sides stems from a fundamental divergence in their perception of who bears the responsibilities for driving change.
Thank you for sharing the knowledge with us, Echo. Even though boy moms sometimes act too extreme and coddle their boys, they have their own struggles. According to our survey, 65.5% of people believe that boy moms are both the oppressors and the victims. In our fight against patriarchal traditions and the oppression of women, we must not turn a blind eye to the realities of women's situation and turn a deaf ear to their practical pain. Thank you for listening to our podcast. I hope you thrive as a woman free from patriarchal burdens.